32 murders in 15 days, and that does not include non-fatal shootings.
We have no teachers and we're not learning anything, and we need more teachers and books.
It's been going on for a while now. We just finally getting everybody to get together, protest, and do something about this.
My name is Charles Bell, and I have watched for years as our community has been left behind. I've done everything I can to prepare myself for a leadership role in our city, and it is time. Change is necessary. And I am running for state representative because I believe we can do more, we can do better, and that there is greatness in every resident in District 4. When I think about the importance of moving our community forward, I believe we need a leader that understands the social problems that affect our community and how these social issues are situated in the lives of our residents. Mass incarceration, the school-to-prison pipeline, unemployment, these are not just statistics. These are real issues that affect the lives of every resident in District 4. Charles Bell, and I actually grew up in this house right behind me, 802 Calvert. When I grew up here, it was a very difficult experience. And I remember walking to school down Calvert to 3rd, and there were no street lights. It was literally pitch dark, catching the bus at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I never thought that I could be successful. I remember seeing drive-by shootings. The very first drive-by shooting I witnessed was I was 7 years old. I was actually standing right over here at this bus stop. There used to be a bus stop right over here across the street. 7 years old, 7 o'clock in the morning, waiting on the school bus. There's a drive-by shooting. I remember my mother literally running out of the door, telling me to get down and duck behind bushes. There was actually some bushes behind over there. I didn't know what to do, and I was 7 years old. And that was life on Calvert. There was constant violence. I remember people getting shot right here in this very grass. There was actually a gentleman that died in my lawn as a child. So just to come from that kind of upbringing and to be where I am today, you know, PhD student at Wayne State University, sitting on the graduate council, specializing in social inequality. I know if I can do it, I know any of these kids in this district can do it. And they need someone who's going to show them how. And many of our students, our young people, we have to give them permission to dream. Many of them have no idea what it means to dream because their reality is so frightening.
I think I'm gonna make it, fulfill my dreams one day. I feel this fire growing deep.
What you want to be when you grow up?
A football player.
Guess what? You can do that, young partner. Go for it. Chase your dreams and never let them go.
Tie your shoes, brother.
As a community, our task is to promote the best possible social outcomes for our young people and put a plan in place that connects them to the resources that they need to be successful. When asked, how do we move our community, District 4, in the right direction? The answer to that question is undoubtedly through higher education. Students, we know that if you invest in a student in a classroom environment, you put the materials there and you structure the lesson to the kid instead of teaching to the test, that produces a successful student.
Right.
But when we look at our public schools down here, you know, that are under Republican control, emergency managers, and you know, it's just the wrong model. The wrong model. So we have, you go to school, the first thing you experiencing is that you're getting, you know, searched as soon as you walk through the door. You're getting frisked, you're getting, you know, going through metal detectors, you're treated like a criminal before you even enter the school. Who wants to be treated like a criminal every day? So that makes the school environment not even appealing to the kid. Then you go to the classroom, your opinion, your thoughts are not even valued. It's all about, you know, learning the information the way I teach it. If you don't get it that way, bye. So it's a very rigid, non-reflexive environment that policymakers structure it like this. They put the pressure on the teachers so that they have to teach a certain way. They have to teach a certain amount of material at a certain deadline because, you know, certain tests are being administered statewide. And then you have teachers that are coming to school. They have to pay for the materials out of their pockets. That's not the formula for constructing, you know, successful students. When you come to classrooms, or you going to, you know, you don't have paper, you don't have pens, you don't have books, you know. I think that's a consensus around Detroit, where you can ask just about any student that actually went to Detroit public schools, did your classroom have books? No. So how do we expect to produce successful students?
It's a true fight to get educated out here.
It really is. You know, the model is just broken. It's a very broken model. You know, how about you design the education environment to be appealing to the students?
Ooh.
I remember when Western International walked out. They had a walkout a few years ago, and they actually asked the students, you know, what would you like to learn? They actually opened up a freedom school while the students were suspended. So they asked the students what they wanted to learn, and the students said, we want to learn about Detroit history, black history. I looked at the article, I said, what? You mean to tell me you're in the middle of Detroit and you're not teaching these kids about their own history? These kids have to protest and fight to get a quality education about themselves? That should be the very first thing you teach. And the problem we have in Detroit, you have a population that is 80 to 90% black. And the first inkling you get of education of African American history, you open the page and it shows slavery.
Yeah.
As if black history started with slavery.
That's the beginning.
One of the programs I'm actually trying to start in my community is a Chase Your Dreams initiative. And I'm doing this for my community because I know what it did for me. First thing I want to do is I actually want to tell kids, you know, why college? Why higher education? I don't care if it's a trade, you know, get something, get a skill that you can market and make money off of. And I'm going to tell them what college did for me. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm taking them there so they can actually see a lecture hall, see researchers. I remember, you know, my first year in college, I got scooped up by a research program. They actually showed me what real research was like. We were in a real laboratory, you know, not the lab where we didn't have any, you know, supplies. There was no, you know, we're going to do an experiment in our mind with no materials and stuff like that, you know. So a real lab. And I actually saw them working with different chemicals, and I work right next door to an HIV lab. I can see posters on the wall and different, you know, germs and diagrams and stuff like that. Kids need to see it. And at Wayne State, you know, at any university, if we can take these kids there and they tell you, I want to be a doctor, you show them some doctors. I want to be a scientist. If you show them some scientists, allow them to sit down with those scientists and map out their course.
Give them a blueprint.
Give them a blueprint. Because, you know, if you tell them you can do it, then you expose them to somebody who is doing it. Then you sit them down and you show them how to do it. That's a foolproof recipe for success, and it's a shame that nobody is doing it.
When we look at the social problems that affect our community, and we see our neighborhoods are falling apart, our schools are under attack, and our elected officials are nowhere to be found, we have to ask ourselves, who truly cares about our community? I care. And hopefully by the end of this documentary, you will see that I have the passion, the skills, and the determination needed to fight for our community in Lansing and in our neighborhood.
If you have people in the community doing better as far as showing them something different, then you're going to have a better community.
I agree.
If you have people in the community doing better as far as showing them something different, then you're going to have a better community.
I had no idea what success looked like. I just took every opportunity and gave it everything I had. And one day, I noticed my accomplishments were inspiring others. I noticed all of my passion and all of my pain had a purpose. And that purpose is to fight for you, to inspire you, to tell you it is okay to dream again. My dream is to be the best leader Detroit has ever had. And I know if I can chase my dream, so can you. You can be a doctor, a scientist, an actor, a singer. You can be whatever you want to be. Detroit, dream big. Dream with me.
My name is Deion Rush, and I practically lived in Detroit all of my life, over 30 years. And it's one young man that's running for state representative. His name is Charlie Bell. I met Charlie Bell when I was doing a peace walk for my son over on the west side. I didn't know Charlie Bell, but I just pretty much put a post out there that I needed some help. I needed some men in the community that wanted to help change some things, and he was one of the only people that showed up to volunteer his time to help out. And since then, within that 2-year span, I've seen him come all the way up as far as to East Lansing, Michigan, all the way down in Detroit on 3rd and Cass, passing out food to the homeless, and just doing everything to prepare himself for this leadership role that he's about to take on. I encourage the brother on a regular because I place myself around positive people, because where I'm from, 48224 Detroit, you must lock yourself in with people, positive people that are doing things. And he's one of them brothers that made a tremendous impact on my life. And I'm from 28224. And I really didn't get off into the political things because I always thought there was some scandal going on. But he showed me there are people out here in the community that care about Detroit just as much as I do. And if you care about Detroit just as much as I do, you need to do your research about Charlie Bell and him running for state representative. Because you don't know who going in office and you ain't trying to figure that out, then you most definitely need to hear this video, because we got to put people in places in the right office so they can help our community. Charlie Bell for state representative, y'all. And I'm standing up for that.
I support Charles Bell because I admire his commitment to not only his pursuit of education, but also for his city and his community. Growing up, Charles always spoke of becoming a doctor, and back then that was unheard of. I admire the fact that at such a young age he could dream so big. And even then, he was motivated, he was driven, he was focused as much as he is today. He's been through the trenches, he's struggled to get to where he is, and I cannot recommend a better candidate for the city of Detroit.
And I believe that his honesty is what's needed in office, his hard work, his dedication, and his compassion for the poor. I see him out here with food drives, feeding the homeless and the poor, and no one else I see out here in the city of Detroit is doing that. And because of who he is and the years that I've known him, I believe him to be the best person for the job. And with that being said, I support Charles Bell 100%.
Little did I know what an advocate he already was for the students at Wayne State and the people of Detroit. His educational background and his research on the school-to-prison pipeline has really opened my eyes personally to an issue that was pretty much just skimmed over as far as my education was in high school and in college. So I really think he's the best person for the job to tackle the social and economic issues that are plaguing Detroit. I'm very proud to call him my friend, and I urge you to please check him out on Facebook or at one of the many events or fundraisers he'll be having over this year. And please do yourself a favor, do Detroit a favor, vote for Charles Bell, District 4, 2016. Thank you.